when we talk about Bhakti Yoga. And it is one of those yogas that actually are least known in a way, unless you are in the tradition and you practice it on a daily basis. And one of the things about bhakti, as a word, the root meaning of bhakti is a life of learning to love, a life of devotion. Yeah. So bhakti is a yoga, union through devotion, union through love. Now we all actually do bhakti, but we don't always know it, you know. And but one of the key things about bhakti is union of on a level which has got nothing to do with the physical body, heart and mind. It's a union that comes from the heart that acknowledges the oneness of life. So bhakti is that yoga that is a devotional, if you like, a devotional practice. You learn to love yourself. First start with yourself, because if you don't love yourself, it's very difficult to love anybody else, okay? Because they say, don't they, that you see the world through your perspective. And if your perspective is not very, very positive about yourself, it's not going to be very positive about other people either, okay? Because everything starts with us. So self-love is actually a very important practice, you know, and the Buddhists talk about metta meditation, which is love yourself, but love also those around you, because it's a natural flow, isn't it? They say bhakti is embraced with what they call the law of love. And when you love, you actually accomplish the law. So it's so natural, and but it is something that actually it's like an invitation to rise higher, beyond you, me, myself, and I, into the whole of creation. That's one of the, if you like, expressions of bhakti is contribution, giving of yourself, giving love, giving friendship, sharing, you know. And I wanted to say to you, all of you, that bhakti is a feel, because it comes with it. It is like almost an expression of the heart. So bhakti is not something that comes from the head. It's when you drop into your heart center that you start to feel love for everything around you. And when you feel love for everything around you, what happens? When you smile at somebody, what happens? They smile back, unless they really have had a bad hair day. They don't always smile back. You know, they say, "Huh, what are you looking at me for? And what's that smile for? You know, I don't feel that good." You know, you also get. I have had that, by the way. You know, I've had that happen to me. You know, but the thing is, when you just continue to express it, something changes. Something changes in a person. And there was a long time ago in Gandhi's life, there was a man who came running to him. Gandhi was giving a speech of freedom. And you all know Mahatma Gandhi? Well, you may not have met him, but you've heard of him, right? And Mahatma Gandhi was giving a speech about freedom and how to go about doing it, and non-violence and ahimsa. So because these are all concepts, aren't they? They're words, but actually he was very, very committed to going forward in life through the path of harmony and peace. So bhakti is about harmony, creating harmony with you and everything around you, with you and your family. So one way is when you have an altar in your home, when you have a place where you worship, a place where you practice, then that energy by itself spreads out into your home, and it creates harmony and peace. And when we are at harmony and peace, we are living the law of love. Because we are practicing. We are practicing harmony. We are practicing balance. We are practicing joy. Now, at that moment, when Gandhi was talking to this to the crowd, this man came up and he started to actually strangle him. He was so angry. He was so angry. And Gandhi just looked at him with a lot of love in his heart. He didn't try and stop him from strangling him. He just watched the man. And the man just fell to his knees and started to cry. And of course, you know, everybody thinks, what happened at that moment? There was so much love. The power of love can really convert. It has the power to convert. It has the power to heal. It has the power, which is why Bhakti Yoga is so important. Yeah. And so, of course, the rest was history, you know, and how do we create that ambience from us that is full of love and that joy all the time? I don't mean laughing and, you know, I don't mean that. Where people, when you are present, actually feel harmony. They feel at ease. They feel comfortable. That takes practice, you know. And it's really interesting. There's a lovely story, and it's a story about a man, an old man, who used to be called the keeper of the stream. And he used to live at high up in the mountains, and his job was to look after the waterfall and the water that came down into a village, into a lake, you know. And this man used to walk from where he used to live, where it all started with the waterfall, and he would walk through the glades and the forests and next to the stream. And as he would walk through the stream, he would, if he noticed something was blocking, he would pick up the leaves, put it to the side. If there was the bank of the stream had broken as well, he would go and fix it. So his job was to look after the process so that the water would flow. And that water ended up in a lake at the bottom of the mountain, and that fed the whole community, a village that was actually living there. They drank that water, they washed in that water, they did everything from that water. But one day, that man fell ill, and he was unable to go down the mountain. And in fact, several weeks went by, but nobody noticed. And then suddenly, what they noticed was that the lake had become, the pool where it all sort of ended up, had started to become stagnant. And then somebody noticed, oh, the old man, I haven't seen the old man, you know, where is he? So, and when the villagers drank from it, they became sick from the water because it was no longer clean, it was no longer pure. So they noticed, oh, something is different, people are getting sick, what is happening? So then they said, we haven't seen the old man. And so they sent somebody up, and of course the old man was in bed. And this young man called help, and they nurtured him, nourished him, brought him back to health. And of course the young man realized, there was a younger man who said, will you teach me what you do? And then he noticed that this old man went every day. It took him 2 hours every day to go down, 2 hours to come up, and all he would do is to adjust the different places in the stream. Bhakti is a flow. When we are in tune with the stream of flow, the flow that is in our lives, then it is possible for us to also flow with abundance, to flow with love, to flow with what we call the power of knowledge. You know, everything starts to flow in ourselves. We are like that stream. And the way we can only adjust the practices we have to do, what are those practices? Those practices are practices of sitting still, practices of doing chanting mantra, possibly. Now, you might not come from that tradition. For you, it might be practice of walking in nature. What gives you energy? What gives you revival? What revives you? That is the power, the force of love. So when we talk about bhakti, bhakti is a process of divination. Okay? Bhakti is divination. Do you understand divination? You become divine through the process of practicing, because you become more in tune. The more in tune you become, the more in harmony you become. The more in harmony you become, the more you're in flow. The more you're in flow, you make the right choices, do the right things with the right people in the right places. That is the power of bhakti. But it all means you have to tune in. Tune into what? Tune into the force that we call spirit. The force of what we call God. You know, the generating force, the operating force, the dissolving force of the universe. Because there are forces in this world that is making, creating, sustaining, dissolving that which is not needed, sustaining which is needed, and creating new. That is the force of God. That's what we call God. Some people think God is a person, and they can be. Because there is a law that is in operation, and that law is that whatever you focus on, you attract to yourself. So if you think God, the force of the generating force, the operating force, and the dissolving force is a person, it will manifest. Because we are co-creators. So as much as we can manifest fear, we can manifest love. And you know, a few years ago, when 9/11 happened, when 9/11 happened, I remember being in our center. We didn't have this place at that time. We were in a smaller place, and somebody told us, "Do you know what's happened? You know, there's been a terrorist attack." And that's what they thought, and it was horrifying. But what we did was we took the World Peace Flame, and I don't know how many of you know, but we, as an organization, we have a project which is called the World Peace Flame. It's the flame of hope, which has, and there are many monuments in this country and in different countries that we've planted, because it is so important to give people hope, so important to give people inspiration. And actually, what happened at that time was we started to pray. And people were saying to us, "What are you doing?" We said, "We're praying, we're planting trees in order to combat." It's a funny word to use, isn't it? Combat. To counter the energy of 9/11. To bring the force of love forward. And I remember many people saying, "What are you guys doing?" I said, "We're praying. We're celebrating." "Why are you celebrating? People are dying." No. They were already dying, they're already suffering. They don't need our suffering, they need our love. So when you're in tune, you almost do the things that humanity needs at the time it needs it. So one of the things is that when it's key, and one thing that if you're serious about living yoga, because these aren't concepts, If you're serious about living yoga, then be serious about your practice to create a process of harmony. Because when you're harmonious, you let go of your own fears, you let go of your own anxieties, you let go of those kind of things. They just leave you because the force of love is that strong. It's stronger than the force of fear. So when we talk about bhakti, bhakti is a practice of learning to love all of life in its entirety. But as much as we have learned to fear and be anxious, we have to do the opposite. And I know from my own experience as an Ayurvedic practitioner that you need to be grounded. So meditation is a very, very important step. In fact, if you like, the whole of yoga is geared towards you being able to be in that place of prayer, of meditation. What is, I don't mean prayers as in just chanting your mantras. I mean a prayer that is born out of a heart that loves. Prayer isn't a word. There are not many words. Prayer is it's an expression of love. So it's very important to, you have to practice. And I was very aware that the Shaolin monks talk about this a lot, and they were talking about, I remember a teacher I was listening to, and he was talking about, he said, when you plant a tree, the day you plant a tree, it's usually small, isn't it? You don't plant a big tree, do you? Yeah. You plant a tree, it doesn't grow overnight. It takes many years to get to the place of becoming this tall, beautiful being that gives nurture and nourish to many, many, the whole of creation. It's like that for us as well. Don't expect your practice to bring in dividends the next day. Keep going. And you'll find that slowly, slowly you build. You build Shakti, you build harmony, you build love, you build truth, you build knowledge. And when you come from that place, then you will heal people just by who you are. People will feel nurtured by who you are. People will feel accomplished by who you are. They will feel complete because of who you are. It's such a fantastic thing. And the lovely thing I do love about this is, it's not held for just special people. It's not only Indians that can do it. Thank God. But it's very important to know. The force of love is so strong. It goes beyond traditions, cultures, color, black, white, yellow, green, it doesn't matter. That's the good news. Everyone can practice the art of loving. And that's what your yoga should bring to you. Doing the movements keeps the body fit and keeps the mind on track. Why? Because the body and the mind need to move in order to be healthy. being in stillness allows you to tune in. And then you tune in to the force in you that is connected to the force outside of you, which is love. And so that is bhakti. And then what do we do with that force? When we practice the practice, it's so important to serve, give to people. You know, I was my aunt sent me a photograph of this little boy pulling up a little child, and it was you could see it was a platform, a railway platform, a poor child that was holding on to something and trying to lift his young brother up, tiny baby, with one arm, It's about reaching out. It's about giving to other people. So, actually, I wanted to say this to those of you who don't know Dru that well, that we are an organization that don't only do yoga and meditation and chanting and yoga and kosha and this and that and the other and the Gita, We're here to make a difference. And we have many projects. We have medical camps that we run as part of that, because it's an expression of yoga. The other day when I came up, somebody asked me, we brought in bags of food, and this person, I don't know who it was, they asked me, they said, is that food for us to eat? No. Something like that it was. No, it wasn't you, maybe somebody, it was one of you anyway. And I said, no, we're going to deliver this food, and it's going to the homeless in this area. Because wherever you go, you can go to that Buddhist center, yeah? I mean, you could go, you did went. You went there, you were there, You can go to all these places, but it's so important to thank the guardians of those places. Because people give to you just by keeping the harmony in that place, And everywhere we teach, everywhere we go, when we go out of our, we also delivered food here to Arnhem on a regular basis, to the poor, to the ones who need. Because it is part of what yoga is about. It's not only about praying and doing your own thing and me, myself, and I. It's about opening that, using that energy that you gain from your practices and contributing to the world. Now, it is a way we have chosen, and there are many organizations that are doing really, really good work. But it's important. What kind of a teacher do you want to be? What do you want to share with the world? Ask yourself that. Because that will give you, I think it gave me impetus, yeah? Sorry, I'm not saying it because, I've done the right things. No, it's like, it's an evolution. It's like, what are we doing for our neighbors and in our local places? How are we contributing? Because we need to. So allow all of that energy to go somewhere. And then guess what? What you put out, the law of attraction, you get back. You give love, you get love. And that is the essence of bhakti. Become the better version of yourself. Then people will say, now I understand yoga. Yoga is union. Bhakti is love. How cool is that? I have 40, 50 years of my life. I've been on the path. And I love it. I love it. is such a precious thing, isn't it? To awaken to something that nurtures you as well. Huh? So something to reflect on, and something for all of you. I don't know what you're going to take away from it, but take the time to sit and think about it. And just know also you're part of all of us. So we've just had an extension of our team, and that's you. Because every time teachers go out and they put the energy of Dru out, it is helping. We know it is helping. So thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate